Is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Thursday, January 9th. I'm here with Al, Brandon, Lindsay, and I'm Tori. Let's get right to it. Major fallout today over the crazy announcement that Prince Harry and Meghan are taking a step back from their royal duties. Take a look at some of the British press headlines from today. The Sun saying, Megxit.
I like that.
Another reading, the Queen's dismay as Harry and Meghan step back from royal life. Speaking of which, there is fierce speculation. Did the Queen know? Or even worse, did she tell Harry not to make the announcement and he did it anyways? Meantime, Piers Morgan is saying, quote, the Queen must fire their royal hustlers. Deluded Meghan and Harry should be stripped of their titles. So the internet is having a field day with memes like this one, so long, peasants. And late night comedian Trevor Noah probably had the funniest take. Take a look.
Harry and Meghan are leaving the palace to become financially independent. And you see, this is what happens when you bring the first black woman into the royal family. Yeah. She looked at Harry and she's like, you need to get a job. You need a job. You a grown-ass man. You can't still be living in your mama's house, Harry.
That one really tickled us a lot. The Queen's response made me think she absolutely didn't know. What she said was, well, we realize they want to take some time, but it's a lot more complicated and we need to do this in a timely fashion, basically. Do you think the Queen knew?
I don't think she knew.
Do you care?
I don't think, you know what? I actually do care about this, and I'll tell you why, because I think it was the ultimate power play by them. Because I feel like what the public has done with the royals is they're like, we'll put you on this pedestal and we'll pick at you for your entire life over your nail polish, your earrings, the way you walked, you shut your own door, you're holding a purse, so we're just gonna mess with you. We're gonna go after your wife every day. And they're like, you know what? You can have all this back, and you're just gonna leave us alone. And everybody, the public had no response. They're like, wait, you can't do that? Yep. And they're like, yeah, we can. I love this move, but I think
it's great.
I think this is like better than TV watching this whole thing. I'm like, oh my God, because basically
Lindsay, we're on TV right now.
I mean, it's not better than our show, but everything else on TV. Because they basically said we want autonomy, we want financial independence. Brits need to be quiet. They pay $1 a year per person to cover, just to pay for all the royals, that's including Meghan and Harry, and they get $1.8 billion on return on investment because of how many tourists come just for the royals.
Smart point.
So they need to really stop. The only thing that he needs to worry about is that his dad currently funds him about $3 million a year, and so when William takes the throne, William's going to decide if he keeps giving him that money or not. And I think between the beef between them,
not good.
He might not be getting that coin anymore.
And that's funny because if you think about the tabloids, how they've kind of controlled this narrative in a way, because that royal photographer was saying on the Piers Morgan show, Good Morning Britain, he was saying how he's changed since he's met Meghan. So then now you put that out there, and then now you have people split, like, oh, she's great for the royals, but now they're saying that she's tearing her apart. And I look at it the way we look at our sports and our celebrities here. It's like since they pay those taxes, then they feel as though they can write and say whatever they want about them. But come on over.
Don't you guys think that Meghan had a life of her own? She wasn't like the Halle Berry, but she was a successful actress. And so to give all that up because you fell in love with somebody, I think some part of her wants to say, I still want to make money.
With you. Harry's great uncle, Edward VII, was going to be king. And what did he do? He abdicated the throne for an American and left. Same thing he's doing.
Really? Edward VIII.
7th?
8th.
We're going to bet on that.
Yes.
All right. Do you remember this video that went viral last month showing a hacker who was talking? Remember this? It was so scary to a terrified 8-year-old through a Ring security camera in her bedroom. Now we're learning how the Ring CEO felt about it. So this is Jamie Siminoff, and he told CNET that, quote,
did somebody just wake him up?
I know. He's very tired. He's very tired.
That's how rich people dress.
It's like hipsters dress like that. That, quote, seeing that video of that girl made me cry. And every time I think about it, it makes me sad. Meantime, we're also learning of other security concerns for Ring customers, as the company admitted it had to fire 4 employees for watching customers' videos beyond what they were allowed to do. So would you put a Ring in your house? Now, I have one on the outside, but would you put it on the inside, knowing that people had at least access to this?
I mean, I'm scared about all technology, but then it's like, when it comes down to convenience, then I just end up
doing it,
caving in, right? Yeah. I have the Clear, I have the phone where you can just look at it and log in. I was against it for so long, getting your fingerprint and all that stuff, but it's kind of like, at this point, at what cost are we letting all this technology in our lives?
Your privacy,
so it is scary.
it's gone.
Right, what are they doing with all this information? Like, what is this cloud that is being stored in?
Yeah.
I feel like down the line, we're all gonna see the repercussions of all of
I think we already are. It's just to sell you stuff. I don't think it's like Cobra Commander is gonna use it against us. I think people just wanna make money. They're like, okay, Brandon's a guy in his 30s, he's single. Here's what we market to him.
Yeah,
This kind of clothes, this kind of watch, this kind of car. I think it's really just about profitability.
We're headed towards Vicky. Virtual Interactive Kinetic Intelligence. You know what movie that's from?
I thought that was a sex doll.
iRobot.
Okay.
This is where it's headed. Alexa right now is the prototype for that robot thing in iRobot.
But I think it's already happening. You can walk in and say, Alexa, turn my lights on, lock my door. So it's kind of already happening.
Yeah.
Alexa's something I'll never get.
Yeah.
I don't
have Alexa
like it
either.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing in my spare time is not fun to watch for the poor Ring person.
You're a great cross-stitcher.
Alone, just cross-stitch.
And then if they caught 4 people, I wonder how many other employees were actually still looking at people's
Very
footage.
good point. Well, you're never going to believe this story. A man fell off a yacht in the Caribbean. That's where the story starts. So when the distress call went out, it turns out Leonardo DiCaprio was vacationing on a boat in the area. So Leo insisted on helping out, eventually spotted the man. He was frantically waving his arms because he'd been treading water for 11 hours when Leo came to the rescue. Too bad it didn't end so well for Jack and Rose, huh? It's much harder to tread water in the freezing cold.
If you tread water for 11 hours, you deserve to be saved.
By Leonardo DiCaprio.
By anybody. I'm just saying.
I would jump in the water and tread it for 11 hours to be saved by Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's thirsty much? What?
But can you imagine, you think you're seeing a boat and you're like, is it a mirage? Is that Leonardo DiCaprio? Like, what's going on?
It's just
He fell in the water because he was drunk, and he was a Club Med worker at one of those hotels out there.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
See, I was wondering, I was like, this doesn't sound like a guy that just owns a yacht being able to tread. No disrespect, they don't seem like the guys that can tread for 12 hours. But this does seem like a story where just like, it's a great story to tell, but everybody, as soon as they walk away, going to think you're lying.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, I was on a yacht and I fell off drunk, and Leo DiCaprio came. They're like, yeah.
I bet.
How long was it till Leo came?
Yeah, and then what happened? And George Clooney took you on the helicopter to the hospital?
Julia Roberts, your nurse. Way to play that one out, Tori. All right, Jillian Michaels is in hot water with Lizzo fans. The fitness guru appeared on BuzzFeed's AM to DM to discuss all things health. But when the convo turned to body acceptance and Lizzo, Jillian wasn't so positive. Let's all look.
And I love that they're putting images out there that we normally don't get to see, of bodies that we don't get to see being celebrated. And
but why are we celebrating her body? Why does it matter? That's what I'm saying. Like, why aren't we celebrating her music? Because it isn't going to be awesome if she gets diabetes. I love her music. Like, my kid loves her music. But there's never a moment where I'm like, and I'm so glad that she's overweight.
Interesting. Well, now some Lizzo fans are calling Jillian out for being fat phobic. So she responded saying, quote, "We are all beautiful, worthy, and equally deserving. I also feel strongly that we love ourselves enough to acknowledge that there are serious health consequences that come with obesity, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, to name a few. This is a conversation we have had on DBL. We've had it with you. We want to continue. Does Jillian have a point?" You two kind of went at it this morning.
Yeah, because nobody asked Jillian for her advice. Lizzo specifically has a song called Fitness where she said, I don't care about what you think about my body.
The interviewer asked her.
Exactly. So shame on the interviewer for asking.
You just said no one asked her.
No, Lizzo didn't ask. Talk about people in general about their size. Why are you talking about Lizzo's size when she obviously is happy about it?
She's the face of it.
Yeah, but
she's the face of all those people out
is
there.
Jillian Michaels in the gym with Lizzo? Is Jillian Michaels in her lunch plate, in her dinner plate? She doesn't know what this woman is eating or how much she works out. This woman is a performer day in and day out.
So you
she
don't
obviously
think
is not in
Jillian
the worst shape
Michaels
of her
is
life.
qualified to talk about somebody's physical? I feel like that's the only thing she's qualified to talk about.
Jillian Michaels picked the wrong target. Like Lizzo is fine.
I don't know if it's a target.
No.
Yeah.
Because there are people at home that look at Lizzo, 5'10", 300 pounds, and they're like, oh, I'm overweight too. I don't have to put in the work that a Lizzo does. To sing and to dance, yes, you have to be in shape for that. Playing in the NFL, you have offensive linemen, defensive linemen who over 300 pounds. When they retire, what's the first thing that they do? They lose weight because they know they can't keep that weight for the rest of their lives because it's going to lead to these problems.
But Jillian Michaels is going off of photos. She's never even met Lizzo, I'm going to assume. So how does she know what type of shape that woman is in?
Or speaking about diabetes.
You looked at weight.net and tried to assume what weight she is. You don't know
I think what she said. I think the most important thing she said that we were losing sight of is she said, "Why are we talking about her body at all?"
Because Lizzo brought her body into the conversation, saying,
"But
this is okay."
why didn't we talk about Taylor Swift's body?
Because she didn't make songs about her body or show her behind at the Lakers game.
Beyonce does. We don't talk about her body.
We talk about Beyonce's body.
Why didn't they use her as an example then? Like let's take DBL. I wouldn't walk up to a coworker here and just start talking about their body.
Because you don't give unsolicited opinions like Jillian Michaels.
Jillian Michaels is a professional. She's been on television giving people professional opinions about their bodies.
Lizzo didn't ask for it though, so don't give it.
The interviewer asked for it. Was she supposed to remain silent on the TV?
Good answer. Good conversation. People are writing in. We're going to get to those comments, but this is what it's all about.
Well, we can't talk about them.
All right, DBL is live, and coming up, a beloved elderly couple murdered in cold blood. They didn't have enemies, so who would want them dead? The chilling investigation in today's True Crime Chronicles. But you're the viewer, you know it, you're our fifth host. It's been a headache since the dawn of time, or just strip malls. Why do customers think it's okay to leave shopping carts all over the place? Your comments coming up next.
Hi, DBL Nation. Happy Thursday. Kelly Schubert here, the DBL digital team. I think we should go to the desk and continue this conversation. What do you think? Let's go. Hi, guys. Let's continue this conversation. Let's go.
The interviewer asked a question, so you got to answer it.
It's not just about Lizzo. Lizzo is the face of something. Just like Selma Blair has kind of become the face of MS. You put the celebrity as the face of the problem. There is a problem right now with obesity. It's one of the number one causes of death.
Specifically does not like Lizzo's body.
Lizzo
likes her body.
Lizzo out of it.
I can't when the person is about Lizzo.
But what about?
I cannot take the person out of the.
What about Pizzo? What about Pizzo?
No, Pizzo is not a real thing.
The girl who has the same body.
As valid as him looking at weight.net to find out Lizzo's weight.
The woman or the man that has the same body type as
Are they also
as
a performer
Lizzo.
that tours the world performing and working out, dancing on stage?
No, they
you
don't.
You have to have a certain type of breath rhythm in order to keep up.
Okay, but you have to keep up with that for the rest of your life.
And that are well over 300 pounds that are in great shape.
And have less than 10% body fat.
So you don't know what Lizzo's body fat is. You don't know.
I know it ain't less than 10%.
You're looking at a photo and making an assumption.
I understand what you're doing as a woman.
That's all you can do with photos is make an assumption.
Exactly. So unless you know her and spend time with Lizzo, I don't want to hear it.
I don't think that you go through life like that unless you were there or know that person. You can't.
You should.
Don't want to
It's
hear
a way to live by it. If you do not know anything,
so if
don't
you're
speak.
not there, you can't discuss it. You're not qualified to discuss it.
Basically, it's almost the same point that you brought up yesterday about saying, "Oh yes, let's go to war." Unless you're a soldier, get out of the conversation.
If you see a picture of Brandon skiing on winter vacation in Aspen, and you go, Brandon, wow, you were really bundled up. It looks cold up there. You can't say that it looked cold because you weren't there.
It was cloudy with a 20% chance of wind. I wasn't there.
So you don't know if it was cold or not.
We're jumping over the problem. We're making it about Lizzo. We're jumping over the problem.
She can flute twerk. She's in shape if you can flute twerk.
Okay.
No, I was just trying to make it. I'm so sorry. Someone wrote this, and I want to know what you think. Black people always complaining about this. This is Stephen George. This is something we suffer in our community. Better start listening.
I did a panel with Anthony Anderson for an hour.
Name drop.
Live only about diabetes because he has diabetes and he's talked about it openly. And he talked about the fact that no one in his family talked about it.
Right.
He lost family members that first of all started losing toes, then feet. And everybody's like, oh, grandma's got sugar and no one knew. It's like, these have to be discussed.
Yeah. Interesting, great conversation. DBL, that's where we are. Welcome back to it. It's time for Fifth Host, and although we've got through the holidays, shopping is always a chore. But is the task complete when you get to your car or when you return your cart? A few supermarkets are getting in on this debate by making shoppers rent carts and by kicking back some of the funds if the cart is returned. So DBL Nation, do you return your shopping carts or is that someone else's job?
Okay, so Mitch from Facebook says, I actually just use the stray carts left in the lot, and once I'm done, I return them to its proper place. Random carts can roll into parked cars, but people don't care. And I agree. Listen, my boyfriend Colin worked at Target in high school and was the cart collector. So I understand how upset he got when people did not return these carts. So I think that you should definitely make it a point to return the cart no matter what you're doing. Even if you want to do like me and just roll it across the parking lot.
You just
and pray for the best.
You just return the cart. But your job, his job was literally to cart collect. So shouldn't that be his job?
I know, but at least if you put it somewhere decent, he could bring the whole lot of 20 into the Target instead of like one over here, one in West, whatever.
Okay.
Well, I think Dimitri disagrees with you because he says or she says that they have people at Walmart and Target specifically for that. It's not easy for a person to return the cart if they're pregnant, have small children with them, or are elderly or handicapped. I'm on the fence on this one because, like your boyfriend, I worked at Food Line as a kid, and I had the cart collect, and it was boring to me when I saw people just throw it any old where, and I used to, you know, cuss at them. So now
you should have got fired. That's inappropriate. You
it doesn't matter. They didn't fire me for that. They fired me for something. They caught me eating grapes in the back. But that's neither here nor there. Red seedless grapes, I love them. But I believe I'm with Dimitri on this one. If it's like a pregnant woman or you have small children, just come on, just put
let
it
it
off
go?
to the side.
Fine.
Don't do it
That's
in the
like
parking
3 out of
lot.
every 1,000 shoppers.
I was about to say, you guys are really going for the extremes here.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Kimberly from Facebook says, the psychology behind this is actually quite fascinating. Pretty much if you don't return your cart to the receptacle, you are a monster.
Exactly.
Kim, I felt like, I just always thought that these kind of people that don't return their carts are kind of the people that also kind of get mad at their waiter or waitress for not bringing their stuff. If you've never had a job, if you've never been a waiter, you don't realize how difficult it is. If you've never returned carts like the wonderful Colin or Brandon, you don't know how difficult that is. So I do understand if you've had the jobs like this, I feel like you put the carts back. If you haven't, I think you just go, oh, somebody else will do it.
So are you saying yes to it or no?
I'm saying,
spit it out.
I'm just saying you're not a monster. I'm just saying you've never had a job where you've had to do something like this.
I see. Okay. I had no more comments.
Well, just throw something
really quick, I'll just say this. I'd rather you, and I agree with Chris Clark, one of our producers, I'd rather you exit your parking spot faster than take the time to put the cart away when people are waiting.
What about the quick roll across the...
I do like I'm trying.
It's like bowling,
I did
right?
something. Yeah, I tried that. All right, next on DBL, an unsolved double murder in Georgia baffles investigators and an entire community. Who would want to kill an elderly couple in such a brutal way? Do not miss today's True Crime Chronicles. So I made a Dionysus joke, and it failed, and it should have failed. It was a Grecian reference from thousands of years. Well, he was saying, I eat red seedless grapes in the back of Food Line, and I pictured like a Grecian god being given grapes, like Dionysus, and then I said it, and everyone's like, huh? So I felt really stupid. But Food Lion, how was your time there?
Wait, lion or line?
Wait, what was it, Lion?
Food Lion.
How was it?
They're in Virginia. I hated it because my dad made me work because I needed to raise money to go to some football camps. I was in high school.
As you should, yeah.
I had another way I wanted to do it, but he was like, no, you're going to work.
Did it involve illegal activities?
Sometimes. But I would go from working out and then have to go and do an 8 or 9 hour shift and then wake back up and go and do an 8 or 9 hour
That's what's
shift
called
and
life
then
is.
go work out again. I used to hate it. And people used to always like have the carts like all the way in the back of the parking lot. You had to go collect it. And I was like, I told the manager I didn't want to do that anymore. So they had me like sweeping and stuff. And one day, there were some red seedless grapes.
And you just decided to enjoy lunch?
I went ahead, put them in a cart, went to the back in the freezer. Somebody came back there, caught me. Just for you.
Well, listen, I want to tell you guys how Colin left his job. Him and his boss got into an argument, and he left all the carts in the parking lot. And so people walked into Target and had not a cart.
Really?
Yes, he left. He literally said, I quit when all the carts were out.
Stand by. Go outside. Here we go.
Welcome back to DBL. For the past 5 years, a double murder has haunted a Georgia community. An elderly couple was killed, beheaded, and then dumped into a lake. It is the only unsolved case in the county. We do have an update in True Crime Chronicles.
Russell and Shirley Dermond lived a happy and good life. They were married for 63 years and enjoying retirement at their secluded home in Lake Oconee, Georgia.
That particular spot, that cove where they had was really private.
That privacy has made it even more difficult to catch his parents' killers. 5 years have passed since that unimaginable day.
Putnam County 911. Yes, I have an emergency. Okay, I think I have somebody dead.
May 6th, 2014. A friend makes a frantic phone call to police after checking on the Dermonds at their home. They discovered a gut-wrenching sight. 88-year-old Russell Dermond beheaded in the garage.
They don't even know how he was murdered because we don't have his head.
10 days later, a fisherman discovers 87-year-old Shirley Dermond's body weighted down with cinder blocks. She was in the lake about 5 miles from the family's home.
It's the horror that they must have gone through. That's what's so difficult to overcome.
The Dermonds had no outstanding debt or enemies. Nothing was stolen from their home. The killer's motive has stumped Putnam County Sheriff Howard Sills.
I have utilized the resources of the FBI. We've had no shortage of people wanting to help.
He's convinced 2 or more people conspired and carried out the killings.
We may not like how long it may take, but they will be solved.
So earlier we spoke with a journalist who spent months investigating this cold case. Take a look. We are joined by investigative journalist Jessica Noll with Volt Studios in Columbus, Ohio. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us. This is the only case the sheriff has not solved in his 44 years in law enforcement. Why do you think our investigators having such a hard time?
One of the major things is there was very little evidence left at the scene. You know, their house was left almost untouched. It was immaculate. And there was no fingerprints, no foreign DNA. So there's a lot of roadblocks. And one interesting point about the community they lived in was a gated community, and typically there are cameras.
Right.
And there had been a storm earlier that week that knocked out the power, and so there were no cameras. So they don't even have that kind of evidence to look at to see who was coming in and out. So it could have been anyone at this point.
All right, Jessica, you also spent a lot of time with the sheriff investigating and revisiting the crime scene. So in that moment being there, what still sticks with you about this case?
He took me out on Lake Oconee, where Shirley's body was found, and it's this beautiful, serene area, and I think just that juxtaposition of the horrific things that happened to this couple in such a beautiful place in Putnam County really sticks out for me. One of the things found, it was intertwined in a wound on Russell's hand, was Shirley's hair.
Oh,
now,
wow.
Shirley, as you know, was not found with him. He was found beheaded in the garage, and she was then later found 10 days later in the lake. That was his last stitch effort, a heroic act of love for his wife, trying to shield her from whatever was, being used to kill her.
And you also drove to Florida to speak with their son. So what does he think the motive was, and who does he think is responsible?
You know, he's kind of just as clueless as the sheriff is at this point, and I don't say that in a negative way. He just has no idea because his parents were just loved. They were grandparents, and they didn't have any enemies. He's told me that he feels confident that if anyone's going to solve his parents' murders, it's going to be Sheriff Sills.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Now, to read more on this case, visit 11alive.com. This story is also the subject of Tegna's True Crime Chronicles podcast this week. You can listen to the episode on your favorite podcast player. We really appreciate people like Jessica Noll keeping the story alive. And if you know anything, of course, please reach out. Thanks a lot, Jessica.
Beauty Blasters, what's up? It's Jeray for the Slay. I've missed you guys so much. I know, y'all miss my face too. I know, the feeling's so mutual, guys. However, I'm back and it's time for some red light tips with your boy Jeray for the Slay. Now, today, it's summer and it's hot out, y'all. It's time to put down that full coverage foundation and pick up a tinted moisturizer. But you don't always have to go out and buy a brand new tinted moisturizer. Sometimes you can make one at home for yourself. So I went ahead and make a little tutorial here, or actually, I'll just show you guys, alrighty? So you're gonna take your full coverage foundation. This one's from Makeup Forever HD. You don't wanna use like a stick or anything like that. You simply wanna use something that's a liquid base and not something that's going to be extremely mattifying. So if you're working with like a oil control foundation, you might want to go ahead and use something that's going to just be full coverage for normal to dry skin. However, what you can do next, if you have that liquid foundation, is take a little bit of moisturizer. I'm just using Embryolisse. This guy's famous in the makeup artist community, so you guys might want to check it out too. And blend those foundations together. Now, you're going to get a much, much more lightweight consistency that's going to be beautiful for that summer glow without having to have that cakey finish in your skin. All you have to do afterwards is tap a little bit with your fingertips and blend all over that beautiful skin of yours. Now, you might want to do a little bit of powder if you're a little bit more on the oily side, like myself, because that tinted moisturizer will make you look a little extra glossy. And we all love a glow, but we don't like to look greasy, y'all, alrighty? Anyways, guys, I want you guys to try this out at home and let me know how it works for you. You can do this with a Revlon, with a Maybelline, whatever you may. Try it out with MAC too. It'll be looking real cute. And this is a great way, once again, to save some money, honey. So let me know your guys' thoughts on this. Write me at Jeray for the Slay on all social media platforms. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Dry January is getting a lot of attention right now, but are there really any health benefits to ditching booze for a month? Let's connect the dots. Dry January began in 2012 as an initiative by a British charity to, quote, ditch the hangover, reduce the waistline, and save some serious money by giving up alcohol for 31 days. A recent poll found 14% of U.S. adults are participating this year. So, is it worth it? Well, the CDC listed limited alcohol intake as one of its 4 totally doable New Year's resolutions that will reduce the risk of breast cancer. And according to a new study from the University of Sussex, 71% of people who took part in Dry January said they slept better, and 67% had more energy. People also say they saw better skin and saved money. So a lack of booze can do the body and the wallet good. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments, which we got a lot of this morning, Al.
Yes, we did. And obviously, I think we can guess this regarding Lizzo. Steven writes in, and this is directed to you, Lindsay. He says, Lindsay, listen to what Brandon is saying. How often do you hear that?
Never. If I had a million options, that would be the last one I would choose.
Well, looks like you're not going to be smart. But keep going, Al. Keep going.
And he says, you know this is something that is a problem within the African-American community. Diabetes is the #1 problem. I don't know about the #1. I know it's up there. I know my father passed away from complications of diabetes. No, I mean, but it is a thing. Yeah. And so it's something to discuss, and I think we have to make sure that we're not having 2 different conversations. I think everybody celebrates Lizzo's positivity and her overall awesomeness, but being overweight, your heart doesn't care if you can sing or not.
That's true, but she can flute twerk.
Yes, she can. I can flute twerk.
No, you can't. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow.
Uh-huh.